Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So you can hear I'm sick, but today I'm going to be reviewing Tales of the Jedi episode 1. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the first episode. So I didn't even know this existed until all of about like an hour ago. We came home and was going to get ready to watch stuff for dinner, and we ended up watching Survivor, but my sister and my husband had suggested Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Empire come out and that we should watch it. I'm going, what? And they're like, you haven't heard of it? And I'm like, no, I'm a Star Wars fan, and this was the one thing I haven't heard of. So apparently it's like another show like Tales of the Jedi, but it's Tales of the Empire. And Tales of the Jedi focused on Ahsoka and Dooku, whereas this one is focused on Elsbeth and then Barriss Offee. So 3 episodes will be about Morgan Elsbeth, and it looks like the other 3 are going to be about Barriss. So I was kind of like, when I found that out, I was kind of like, not really interested. But I gave in and watched the first episode with my sister, and it was actually really good. Like, I can't really breathe, and then I'm walking, so I'm sorry I'm breathing heavily. I'm like Darth Vader up here. Just less creepy, I guess, or less scary and less intimidating. So the episode opens up with the fall of Dathomir, when the droid army and General Grievous like slaughters the Night Sisters. So it was really cool to see other aspects of that battle. And it felt like right back in Clone Wars again. So honestly, like, I really enjoyed it. The quality was also kind of the same. Oh, Brace feels so nice. So like, legitly, I really enjoyed it. And then after that, it's kind of about after she sees her mother murdered, like what happens with her. So we get to see these other people called the Mountain Clan. And I can't tell if they're other Night Sisters or not, but at one point, like, the captions kept calling them witch, like which one, which two. And then at the end, the leader of the Mountain Clan, the woman, she uses this like magic, but it's not evil Night Sister magic, it's more like light. So I'm wondering if they're like good Night Sisters, but there wasn't really a whole lot of context given to it. But overall it was like really good, and I enjoyed it. I would say for me, like with Tales of the Jedi, I loved it so much I felt like they were too short. I wanted more. With these, I don't care about Morgan Elsbeth. It's nice that they're giving her a backstory so she's not like random that they threw in. And I think one episode of The Mandalorian, when they brought in Ahsoka, and then in the Ahsoka show is where she was really included. So it's nice that she has like a background and context and stuff. However, I don't care about her. I don't really like Barriss Offee, maybe, since she does have connections with Ahsoka. So that could be cool, but because I don't really care about these characters that much, I feel like the bite-sized length is like really good. So for me, I feel like the bite-sized length like actually works for me, and I really enjoy it. So overall, I would say this is, I want to say 4 stars just because it's kind of like about a character I don't care about, but seeing the Battle of Dathomir again was so cool that I have to give it 5 stars, because for me, the quality and the time period it took place in and the storytelling and like the animation and all that stuff, it feels very Clone Wars to me, and the nostalgia for me for Clone Wars makes it 5 stars. So my review on this is short, but honestly these episodes are really short. Like I said, they're bite-sized, and I feel like the length really works for them, so my reviews on them are going to be really short. But what did you guys think of this first episode of Tales of the Empire? Are you guys even interested in the show at all? Let me know in the comments below. Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm sick, but today I'm actually going to be reviewing Tales of the Empire all at once. So I reviewed episode 1 last week. I'll pop that here on the screen. But today we binged episodes 2 all the way through the end. So I'm going to be reviewing all of them at once because they're so short. It's kind of like I'm just going to do them all in one video, except for the first one. So episode 2 is still following Morgan Elsbeth, and for some reason after the Night Sister thing, it jumps ahead to where she's apparently working for the Empire. And so for me, it felt a little disorienting. I'm tired and I can't think of a lot of terms and names and words right now, so you'll have to forgive me. But anyways, it felt very disjointed and disconnected, because it's like, okay, how is she working for the Empire? When did she start working for the Empire? Why is she working for the Empire? It just forms more questions than it answers, and the whole purpose of this is to give her a backstory that they should have done in Ahsoka, and because they didn't do a good enough job in the Ahsoka show building up her character, they have to do it now, but they're not doing a good job either, because it's still like leaving more questions than answers. So apparently she's building these new has plans for these new special TIE fighters. The Empire doesn't want them, and then she goes back, she's taken over this village and making the workers work for her, which again, why? I don't know, it doesn't say. And then she fights Grook, I can't remember his name, but he is the assassin who works for Thrawn that was in Rebels. So seeing him was nice. The fight scene between him and Morgan Elsbeth was really good. Thrawn shows up. It was really good to see him. He did look different. I'm not nitpicky. I'm not one of the Thrawn fans that are like really picky about everything they've done with Thrawn, because I've never read the book, so I'm staying out of that. However, I just want to point out the fact that he did look different than the way he looked in Rebels. And I don't know if they made him purposefully, like, because in Rebels he's very lean and narrow and his face is really long, and in this one his face actually had more of a shape to it. And me personally, I like that the character looks more defined. I noticed that with a lot of the animation in this one, they look a little bit more defined as opposed to the Rebels animation, but it did make him look different. It kind of made him look more like his actor, his live action actor, which his live action actor is his voice actor. So the voice of Thrawn is always so fantastic to hear. He does a wonderful performance, but I'm just pointing out the fact that he looks a little different than he did in Rebels, and they made him look more like the actor. And it could be because a lot of the fans that I've heard of, they didn't really like the way Thrawn looked in Ahsoka live action. They felt like while he's a really good voice actor, he doesn't look the part, and I think they kind of did a little bit to kind of bridge that gap, but it didn't bother me at all. It was just something I noticed. So overall, I would say this for me was probably 3.5 to 4 stars, because I liked it, but it left me hanging with more questions, like, why is she working for the Empire? How did this happen? How did she start working for them? Why is she doing it? She does mention a line where Thrawn asks her, and she says, for revenge. But how is working for the Empire going to help her get revenge on the Separatists for murdering the Night Sisters when the Separatists have been destroyed anyway? And why is she making all the people work for her? And it's like, why this? Why that? Like, you're not explaining very much. And I actually feel like, because last week I talked about episode 1, I like how short they are. And this one I feel like we needed more, because it didn't explain anything. So, and then episode 3, the third and final episode for Morgan Elsbeth, we're jumping again to after episode 6, because we have a New Republic agent that we've never met before coming back to the town that Morgan Elsbeth has taken over, and the whole thing is she's trying to get Morgan Elsbeth to surrender. Morgan doesn't, and then it gets into a fight between Morgan's mercenaries and the New Republic woman and her soldiers, and it's kind of like we get the gist that the New Republic agent knows the guy who is not really the leader of this town, but like he's the kind of like the spokesperson between the people and Morgan Elsbeth. We don't know how they know each other, so again, we're jumping ahead. Nothing is explained from episode 2 about Morgan and her plans, and her reasons and motivations weren't clear, which this episode could have cleared that up, but instead we jump again. And now we have a new character who's not introduced, who we have no idea who she is or what her connection is. And then it's implied that Morgan, the woman tries to escape back to her ship, and then, the guards blow up her ship and she basically dies. And the speech that she gives the leader, like, not to give up, help is coming, and she hands him the little comm thing that she used to call for help. Morgan, and so she dies in his arms, and it's kind of like this really good speech, so that I really liked. But then Morgan comes over and squishes the comm, and her guards kind of arrest the guy, but she burns the forest down. So I don't know why she decided, like, I know that, because I started to recognize the scene when they went to go arrest Morgan. The scene with the little bridge was when, in The Mandalorian, when Ahsoka first confronts her and they have their fight scene. That's the scene, so that's where that takes place at, so it kind of fills that in. And when she first entered in there, when Ahsoka, like, first entered this whole place, the forest out there was burned, so it was kind of like, well, you had to fill that in, so that's how the forest got burned. But it kind of was, like, not necessary, and she gives a speech to people like, you're safe with me, but like, I'm burning down this forest for no reason. And then it's like, why does she need these people to be enslaved. It does mention that she has a vision and she's fulfilling her destiny, but like, what's the vision? What's the destiny? We know eventually she's going to end up in the other galaxy in Ahsoka and try to help the other Night Sisters, but that's not explained or clarified. And I don't even think she makes the other galaxy, because in Ahsoka she gets killed. So it's like her destiny was to help them get... Does she get killed before or after they get to the other galaxy? I don't remember, but she gets killed sometime in the Ahsoka show. So her destiny is to help Thrawn, like to get to the other galaxy to free Thrawn and to help the other Night Sisters from the other galaxy, but that's not clear in this particular episode. So it's like, why, whatever happened to her TIE fighter plans that she was working on for the Empire? Why did she join the Empire? How does that help her get revenge on her sisters? What's her vision? What's her destiny? What does it have to do with taking over this town and enslaving these people? There's so many questions and they don't answer anything. And for me, it's like Morgan Elsbeth is not a character that you choose for Tales of the Empire. Like, first of all, the first episode was about the Night Sisters. It had no connection to the Empire. It was Clone Wars era, which is fine. I loved seeing it, but it's not Tales of the Empire. That doesn't belong here. The second one was a little bit, but most of it was her meeting with the Empire, them saying no, her going back to her place, and then Thrawn showing up. So it still wasn't like Empire-ish. And then this one had nothing to do with the Empire at all, because it was on her planet and it was New Republic. It was after episode 6. So how is this Tales of the Empire? For Tales of the Empire, you're supposed to do like Imperial stuff. Like, I would have liked to see Grand Inquisitor. I could see them doing something about Tarkin, like Governor Tarkin or whatever. That would have been cool. Darth Vader, obviously. Sidious, you know, some of the Inquisitors, like all of that stuff. But no, it's like Morgan Elsbeth is kind of a weird choice, and then they didn't explain anything. And if anything, it kind of like, the purpose of it was trying to give her a backstory and fill in her character, but they actually made it worse in a way, because it didn't explain anything and it left more questions and answers, and it jumped too much. There was too much jumping and not enough explaining her and showing her motivations. So those were the Morgan Elsbeth episodes. So now we're going to get to the Barriss Offee episodes. So that was episode 3, which for me, episode 3, I'm gonna say 3 stars, because the action scene was pretty cool. The visuals were really cool, but it didn't explain anything. And for me, it was too much of a jump from her working for the Empire, working for Thrawn, building those prototype, the new TIE fighter things in secret, to this. It's like there wasn't a whole lot of explanation. So 3 stars for me. Episode 4 starts Barriss Offee's story. So it starts off, Order 66 is happening. I absolutely loved getting to see Order 66 from a different perspective. So she was arrested by the Republic. For those of you who haven't seen the Clone Wars, she basically blew up the temple. Well, she bombed the temple and was trying to like be a terrorist, basically, and she framed Ahsoka, and that's when the Jedi Order kicked her out, and Anakin found out the truth, and he fought Barriss Offee, and then the Jedi were like, we're sorry, Ahsoka, we know it wasn't you, but then Ahsoka's like, you guys didn't believe in me, so I'm out of here, and that's when she left the Order. It was a big deal. She was a terrorist, so she was arrested, given life in prison, in a Republic prison, like from the Jedi. So in Order 66, she's wondering what happens. It's kind of her perspective. And then the Inquisitors come and they take her. And so she starts training with the Grand Inquisitor. So we got to see him. I just want to point out, he looks different from his appearance in Star Wars Rebels as well. There's more lines in his face, but I really liked it because, again, it feels a little bit more realistic. Even though it's animated, it's like a more realistic version of the characters than in Rebels, which was designed for like a younger audience. So I did like that change. And he still looked like the Grand Inquisitor. Same voice actor, so he did fantastic. He sucked in Kenobi. I don't even want to talk about that. So overall, it was really cool. And for me, the ending was the coolest part, because Darth Vader shows up. Like, they bring her and the other trainee Inquisitors into the room, and Vader shows up, and my heart just literally was like thudding in my chest, and I was so excited to see what was going to happen next, because Anakin fought Barriss. She doesn't know that Vader is Anakin, but he would recognize her, and he knows that she framed Ahsoka and completely screwed up Ahsoka, and that's how the Jedi, like, everything is her fault, essentially. So I was really excited to see what would happen next and how he was going to react to talking and interacting with her. Of course, the episode ended, so I'm like, okay, they're doing really good. good. They're teasing us. This is great. Overall, this episode, particularly for me, episode 4 was a 5-star episode. Barris's character started to seem off to me. That's important for the next 2 episodes, but for this one, it was a little odd, but I thought, okay, she's been in prison for a while. She probably just is trying to get used to things. She seemed a little like she fought too much like a Jedi. In the training scene with the Grand Inquisitor, he was like, you're fighting like a Jedi, you know, you embrace your anger. That felt wrong and off to me because she fought like a Sith. She knew the dark side. She was training in the dark side. She was embracing it. We never really knew how she knew the dark side or like who had trained her, if she was working with Dooku or what was going on with her. But she fought and held her own against Anakin Skywalker. Like, this is Clone Wars era, close to episode 3. Anakin almost at the height of his power, and she kept up with him and fought him, and she was embracing the dark side. She was not fighting like a Jedi at all in Clone Wars. So for me, that was wrong. It was breaking canon, and this was exactly my point when I'm afraid of Disney content and everything that they're doing, because to me, they just keep breaking canon with everything that they're doing. It just breaks canon. It doesn't feel consistent. So that was my first red flag, but overall I kind of liked the episode. So for me, it was like, I did say 5 stars, but I'm going to change my vote down to, because that did throw me off, so I'm going to go down to 4.5 stars just because her character was a little off. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time, so that's my rating for episode 4. So episode 5 is where everything starts to go downhill. So she's with one of the Inquisitor sisters, and they're hunting this Jedi. So at first I was like, oh, this is going to be Ahsoka. I was like, this is great. This is going to be Ahsoka. We're going to have the showdown. They get there. It's not Ahsoka. And they hunt this Jedi. And they gas the people, where's the Jedi? And she's acting nice. She doesn't want to attack anybody. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. The other Inquisitor ended up slaughtering them for lying to her. She protected this little boy. So she protected this little boy. She doesn't want to kill them. She's horrified by the fact that the other Inquisitor is slaughtering everybody, and she's acting good. And I don't understand where this is coming from, because she was a terrorist. She had killed people. She had bombed people. She had framed Ahsoka. She was embracing the dark side. Why is she good all of a sudden? I don't know. It doesn't explain. It was so off. Her character was not Barriss Offee, and it drove me insane. So this whole episode, she's a goody two-shoes. It was like good cop, bad cop, but it was like the good cop was already supposed to be a terrorist, so she was already supposed to be bad. So they go after this Jedi, and at first I thought it was a guy, and then I thought it was a girl, and then I'm thinking it was a guy, but they use they, them pronouns. Like, they're freaking using pronouns in Star Wars. Are you kidding me? Instead of saying him, and he's a human. He's not even an alien. Like, if it's an alien, maybe, you know? So they're like... So they fight the Jedi, and she's trying to talk the Jedi down and trying to reason with him, and he shuts off his lightsaber, and he's like, I'm so alone. She's like, just come with me. You're not alone anymore. You know, she's given the good cop speech, right? And he surrenders. He turns off his lightsaber. He's so alone. He just wants to be with people, I guess. So I don't know why, but like, okay, I'll let it slide. He's maybe been through a lot, and he's missing the Jedi. So sure, they're trying to kill him, but maybe he's just desperate. And then the other Inquisitor slices him across the back. So I'm like, oh, dang, she just killed him. Like, boom, you know. And then she's like, the other Inquisitor says something, and like, I don't know. And then Barriss's reply is like, well, then I'm a Jedi too. And I'm like, no, you're not. She hated the Jedi. She hated the Jedi Temple. She tried to bomb and destroy them and kill them all. She was an ultimate terrorist. What is going on? This doesn't make any sense at all. And so they fight, and it turns out the Jedi guy is alive, because lightsabers mean nothing anymore. They're not laser swords. They're glow sticks. So being sliced, your back being sliced open by a lightsaber, nah, you'll be fine. So he's alive, so she takes him and leaves and escapes. And so and she's like, you're not alone anymore. So it was kind of sweet, but it was ruined by the fact that this is not Barriss Offee. This is not her character. This is not who she's supposed to be. She's not supposed to be good. Why is it that Disney cannot make a villainous protagonist anymore? You can have a villain in the spotlight and actually make them evil. They are like so weak. Like, you go there, you don't, like, oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. So this was a 2-star episode for me. The fighting was pretty decent. Actually, I'm going to give it 1 star because, was it this episode? One of the episodes had some really weird lighting, and it was like way too much either green or way too much red. I think that was the last episode when they were training with the Inquisitors. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give this 1 star because the thing is, when she was trying to when Barris was telling the other Inquisitor, you know, they're still alive, like, he's still alive, we can save him. She was like, they're still alive, we have a chance to save them. Like, they pronouns, but it's a single guy. It literally doesn't make sense. You sound like an idiot. It sucked me right out of the story. It broke the fourth wall because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't belong in Star Wars. It doesn't fit with the Star Wars universe. It just completely sucked me out of it. Threw me into a reality where we have people that think that having a plural pronoun is fine when you're only one person. That's not how grammar works. Go back to school, please. 1 star. We're gonna move on. Episode 6, the final episode, was even worse. So there's this family, they have a kid, there's some cute creatures. I liked the cute creatures, so like, yay for cute creatures. But they are looking for a healer, and I'm going, oh my god, they're gonna make Barris Offee a healer. Sure enough, they get there, and she's this really good healer, this monk. She's like, basically the kid's force sensitive, and the Empire wants him, and the Jedi did that to me, and they took me away, and I can get you to safety. And then she goes out there, she sends him into this cave. The other Inquisitor shows up, so they have a predictable showdown, but Barris doesn't even use a lightsaber anymore. So all of a sudden, she's this perfect little monk who knows how to fight without a lightsaber, even though Ezra and Ahsoka claimed he could fight without a lightsaber, but he wasn't as efficient as he should have been. And then later on, he ends up getting a lightsaber or something anyway. He ends up fighting with a blaster or something anyway. So she moved like Ezra should have after years of being on his own without his lightsaber against Thrawn. But okay, she's a perfect little monk now. And then she stands down and lets the Inquisitor go in the cave after them because she's like, oh, if you go in, you won't come back out again. You don't know your way. So they get away, and then the Inquisitor's lady is just going nuts, like slicing everything because she's angry. And Barris's voice is talking to her and trying to like redeem her and like, you don't have to be evil. And then she shows up, the Inquisitor stabs her. I mean, at this point, they're doing it on purpose because it's got to be a meme. Like, poor Qui-Gon. He is literally the only guy in this universe who has been stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber and survived. And not survived. I mean, he's the only one who's done it and died. Reva, as a kid, as a little girl, who is a Jedi, by the way, so she didn't have the hate and anger from the dark side to keep her alive. Little girl gets stabbed in the gut by Anakin Skywalker at the height of his power in Episode 3 when he's Darth Vader. She survives. Adult Reva gets stabbed in the gut by Darth Vader, who would make sure that she's dead. She survives because he wouldn't put up with somebody turning against him, and that's what she tried to do. But nope, we're gonna let her live because why not? So then she survives that. Friggin' Sabine in Ahsoka gets stabbed in the gut, and she survives. At least she had medical help nearby, so I mean, maybe, but like, no. And now and I told my sister, and now Barris, because the Inquisitor chick all of a sudden knows the way out, so she carries Barris and gets out of there, even though Barris told her she would die and like not be able to get out of there. Like, I told my sister, I was like, you know what they all have in common? They're all women. It's the power of womanhood. I finally figured it out. So because we're women, we can survive gut shots to the gut with a lightsaber, ignoring the fact that it's a laser sword that would burn a hole through you when you're stabbed. Like, everything inside your gut would be burned to a crisp, and it would be burning everything else. There's no way you would survive that. The only way you would is if you got immediate medical help and had some cybernetics put in you, like Anakin did. There's no way. Like, oh my gosh. But no, it's the power of womanhood that has to be it. Because women are so awesome, we can survive lightsaber shots to the gut. I am so infuriated that 0 stars. 0 stars. This does not even deserve a 1 star. Well, the creatures. Okay, I'll give it 1 star because the creatures were cute. They had this little chipmunk looking thing that was like in the snow. It was cute. What? She's supposed to be a terrorist. She bombed the Jedi Temple. She framed her best friend Ahsoka for it. Got Ahsoka kicked out of the Jedi Order. She hated the Jedi. She fought like a dark side user. She was embracing the dark side. I'm pretty sure she had the Sith eyes, too. And like now she's this monk who doesn't want to embrace the dark side, who becomes a healer. Like for me, I think the final episode 6 would have worked if the middle episode had them going after Ahsoka instead of this random Jedi that didn't even do anything. And then Ahsoka could have converted Barriss, turned her to the light side, and then we could get her redemption kind of epic moment at the end. But they would have had to have actually kept Barriss's character intact because she needed to. I think they should have started her off as an Inquisitor, embracing the dark side, being evil. Then Ahsoka in episode 2, the second episode, which would be episode 6, episode 5. Then Ahsoka converts her, turns her back to the light side, and that would have been cool for Ahsoka's character too, because then she was able to do what Obi-Wan could not do for Anakin. Obi-Wan tried to turn Anakin back and couldn't. So I think that would have been a cool thing for Ahsoka to have turned her friend back to the light side, even though Obi-Wan couldn't do that with Anakin. And then the final episode could have either been her, the same thing where she's a healer and she faces down, one of the Inquisitors for the final time. So Tales of the Empire had like maybe 1 or 2 4-star episodes. For me, the best one was the one with training with the Inquisitors. The lighting in that one was horrible. I don't know if they were using some sort of filter, but it was horrible. Vader at the end coming in was really cool, but they ruined, they could have done something with that and they didn't. Morgan Elsbeth, I do not care about her, and most of these episodes were not involved with the Empire. Thrawn showing up at the end of Morgan Elsbeth's second episode, and then the training with the Inquisitors in Barriss Offee's first episode. Those were the only 2 that included anything to do with the Empire. 6 episodes for Tales of the Empire, and we only get the Empire and glimpses of 2 of them. So my overall rating for the show was it sucked. 2 stars for the whole show. It sucked. I did not like it. Disney, do better. You suck. It's okay to have a villain do evil things as a protagonist. When you do a villain, they are supposed to be bad, which means they do bad things. And by the way, stop gut-shotting people with the lightsaber, because that would kill you. You cannot survive that. You're a moron. My goodness, how many more people are going to have gut shots? And by the way, don't use pronouns in Star Wars. It doesn't belong. He's a guy. Call him a he. I don't know. Maybe it was an old woman, but for me, it seemed like a guy. So overall, I'm disappointed. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, is there anything that you liked about it? Tell me. Let me know. In the meantime, if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In the meantime, if you enjoyed my review of this little rant for Tales of the Empire, then check out my review of Bad Batch Episode 1. Check it out. You don't want to miss it. I was a little bit more positive about it, so yeah, check that out. You don't want to miss it.